generation. And it got me.
It's blinking. It's blinking. I don't know. Red light was on there a minute ago.
Yeah, it's going fine.
No, it's not doing it.
What's that?
It's not doing it when you come down here.
I know, there's nothing to do. What
You
is
did
it?
it 2 or 3 times.
It's live. It's public. We're live.
Okay.
We're live. We got some technical difficulty. For those watching you at home, our cameraman is in Canada, so I'm filling in. All righty. So we're looking at Matthew 11, 16 and 19, 25 to 30. And we look about the different generations, don't we? And I know generations that have come before us have said, oh, this younger generation, they don't know what they're doing. They're foolish. And we look at younger generations coming up, and don't we say, they don't know what they're doing, they're foolish, they're having trouble, different things. And we've always, it's been the same way for throughout time. And we see different things that get people motivated or not motivated, such as music. You know how we look at music and how different generations have looked at music, and the older generations don't understand the music we listen to, and we sure don't understand the music that the younger generations listen to. And I think it will go on, it'll go on. Same as dress, different things and that are coming on, and different things. So there's a lot of different things, because when you start off saying, you know, this generation, I started thinking about generations. But then I was watching a YouTube video, just relaxing last Sunday evening, and it really came to light just how life has changed. Now we can say it may have been COVID back in 2020 or what, but the premise of this video was saying that hustle culture, is what she called it, is dead. And we've really changed our priorities in America. We've really changed. And we can see this. It's been like a generational shift of the way people treat life and work. Used to be, let's work hard, we'll get ahead. You had the Protestant work ethic. Things will happen, things will get going, and things will get done. If we work hard, we'll succeed. And I'm not saying there's anything bad against hard work, but it's just been a big shift in our society. Huge shift. And where it really came apparent to me is when I used to work in a nursing home as a CNA. Because you would get the older nurses, older staff, and they would be like, I worked here 25 years and I never missed a day. Even when I was sick, I still came to work. When we had the big snowstorm, I made sure I got to work. And they get a little plaque saying, you know, thank you for never missing a day for 25 years. And the younger people we'd work with, oh, it was a beautiful day. I couldn't come to work. I wanted to go to the beach. I went to the beach instead. I just called in sick. I said I was sick. I'm going to the beach. And you could see the clash between the two. Because they were like, what do you mean you just don't come to work? You have to come to work. How can you not come to work? And the other's like, why are you going to work all the time? Why don't you live life? Relax. Take time off. Take time for yourself. So I'm not going to get into argument back and forth. But it leads into what Jesus is saying. And this is Jesus saying this. And to a certain extent, he's sounding like an old guy, an old grumpy person. This generation, you know, if you just look at it on the surface. But it goes much deeper in that. And I think he's really trying to make a point. What shall we liken this generation to, he says. And I think Jesus is talking about the people that aren't getting the message. Now, I got to work with children and youth this week coming up with Vacation Bible School. So I'm hoping they'll get the message. And in essence, the message is pretty straightforward and is pretty clear. And they heard the message, and many people received the message, but they didn't. And if you do, you enter the kingdom of heaven. Simple, straightforward. And that's what Jesus is really trying to emphasize, what he's really trying to talk to, and really trying to get. So he talks about himself, and he also talks about John the Baptist, as we saw and we heard in there. He says, many heard and they believed. And he talks about bad places but good ministers. Bad situations but good ministers. And we have this with our missionaries. We have this with people around the world. How they serve and how they take care of other people. But we see how many people reject the gospel. Many people reject the gospel. Many groups of people reject the gospel. And I've talked with people that have witnessed to people and they get very discouraged. They say they won't listen. They won't take it to heart. They won't even have a discussion with me when I try to witness to them. And I would say to them that people rejected Jesus when he was standing right in front of them. So we shouldn't get discouraged, but just continue on. Continue on. Spreading the good news. But Jesus is making a point. Because sometimes we have to point out what's going on, what's working, what's not working. And Jesus is saying, this generation, they don't listen. So he says, we played a flute for you and you do not dance, and we mourn and you do not lament. And this is what Jesus is saying about himself. There's times when he eats with sinners and he meets with sinners, and they don't like that. There's times when he mourns, when we look at John the Baptist and the things that he did, and they don't like that. And I think you can't please everybody, but you have to do what you have to do. So, I mean, Jesus has a wonderful relationship with children and the younger generation. So it's not the children he's getting at. I mean, last week alone, we took, if you give a child a drink of cold water, you will get a reward, he says. And of course, we have that famous time where the disciples were shooing the children away. And he says, no, let the children come to me. And as I said, I hope we're getting a lot of children tonight, because they can hear the gospel and learn the gospel. So on the one hand, he's talking about the ministry of John the Baptist, who neither ate or drank anything, hardly, lived on locusts and honey in the wilderness. I don't know what he's like at Baptist potlucks, but we'll leave that up to, I don't know if the honey would be good though, I don't know. And John presented himself so that we would focus on the message, not focus on him. And he wanted people to focus on the message. He says this time and time again. It's not about me, it's about the message. And the same thing when we witness to people, when we talk to people. It's not about me, it's about the message. And on the other hand, we have Jesus, who eats and drinks with sinners. And every time he did this, he was called out. Why are you doing this? Those are bad people. Why are you talking to people like that? Why are you associated with people like that? He said, that's what I came here for. Don't be foolish. And I love, when I had the youth group up in Fredericksburg, we were attracting a lot of different youth from a lot of different backgrounds. I'll just say that. And I remember one lady from the church, she only lived a couple houses away. She says, I don't like the kind of people you're attracting to that church. I said, thank you. That's one of the nicest things anybody's ever said to me. Because those are the people that need to hear the news, the good news. So we see this. And we see this in ministers. We see this, and I hope you do in your life when you're witnessing to people. We use a lot of different things. John was out in the wilderness. He has separated himself and was able to get the message out. Jesus sat down with sinners, ate with sinners and tax collectors and all the rest of that. And we see other pastors use different things. Some use stories, some use poetry, some use jokes. A lot of different ways that they have to get the message out. And we need to get the message out. And it's a very simple message, very straightforward message, and a very clear message. And we need to get it out to the people. As I said, Jesus said, John neither ate nor drank. And you said, he has a demon. The Son of Man came eating and drinking. You say, he's like a glutton, because he eats with tax collectors and sinners. So you could not please anybody that way. So that's the generation he's talking about. And that's the criticism he has, that you can't criticize us because we're trying different ways just to get the message out. Focus on the message. We often have this with arguments. You see it in political arguments, see it in other arguments. You know, when somebody's starting to lose their argument, well, you're ugly, or you don't look good, or you're stupid. You know, and that's not helping out the argument. That's not helping out the debate. If you just have personal attacks, that's what is that? That's nothing. So you're not getting anywhere if you do that. And Jesus sees this, and he sees injustice, and he gets angry. As we too should get angry if we see injustice. There's nothing wrong with that. So that's what Jesus is really trying to say. He's really trying to get at. Really trying to hope that people will understand. But then it has a bit of a shift in there. And we see how he takes a shift and how he looks at giving thanksgiving. And why should we give thanksgiving? You know, often we have different things and we go through different things. And he talks about the relationship he has with his Father, and the Son has with the Father, and the Father has with the Son. And we are part of that situation because Jesus acts as a moderator for us. He helps us out. He guides us. He directs us. He encourages us. And he gives this wonderful way to look at it. He has an intimacy with the Father, and the Father has an intimacy with the Son. And they work back and forth. And we too have that same relationship, in a sense, with Jesus. That we can love him and he loves us on the surface. So we have that relationship, and we should build on that relationship. So many times in life do we get along because we have a relationship with somebody that can help us out, or we have a relationship with somebody that we can help out. And it's so nice to know a friend who can do this, or a friend that can help me out here. And we have this. And that's the way we should be with Jesus. That wonderful relationship, because he states the relationship. And it's a beautiful way he states it. A beautiful way we can look at it. He says, "Come to me, all who are labor and are heavily laden, and I will give you rest." In this world of hustle and bustle and worry and wonder and so much disruption that we see on the news. I don't think there's as much as we see on the news because they have to sell news time and air time and advertising. So of course they focus on the worst and the negative and all the rest of this. But we often look for rest. Many times we're troubled. Many times we're wondering what the next step to take is, what to do. So he says, "Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am gentle and lowly in heart, and you will find rest for your souls. For my yoke is easy and my burden is light." What a wonderful way of looking at it. So many times you sign up for things or get involved in things. It's hard work. It's a lot of labor. A lot of things have to be done. But this is just giving us rest. He says, my burden is light. You don't have to carry it around. It'll be easy. And I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you. That rest is a promise. That release from the drudgery of sin. We can have that. It's a free gift from God that we can have. And of course we know that the people before Jesus had the law and they had to keep it up. And it was so hard. And we did this, we didn't do that. And we had to do this, we couldn't do that. And now it's simple. Just believe and you'll be saved. Jesus has done all the heavy lifting already. All we have to do is believe and be saved. And that's a fantastic way of looking at it. A fantastic way to be. My yoke is easy and my burden is light. Isn't that a fantastic way of looking at it? I am meek and lowly in heart. He just wants to have a relationship. Just wants us to love us. Just wants to hear the good news and accept it. And when we do, the reward for us is everlasting life and a wonderful relationship we can have with Jesus Christ forever. That is a beautiful thing. That is a beautiful thing. And easy. His burden is light. Because we are burdened by so much going on around us. And we can look to him. Because he has a light burden. He isn't giving us any more burdens, but but He'll take away a lot of burdens that we do have.